Hello, and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim, and with me as always is...
My name is Mark.
Is it? Are you sure?
It is, and we have a couple of special guests, but before we do that, and I'm glad we're all on camera for this, to bless this recording, I want to say a little prayer. Is that okay with everyone?
Sure.
It's fine by me.
I mean, I guess.
Okay, can we all join virtual hands? Please bow your head. Our developer, who art in his office, Eugene be thy name. Thy desktop
Oh
gone,
my god.
programming be done,
It's some
in actual reality as well as is in our simulation. Code us this day our daily bites, and forgive that Dick Dave as we forgive the NPCs around us. And lead us not into glitches, and make sure to have a backup server. A woman, because you see Eugene isn't sexist. One out of 3 people got that.
That's the way you're going to
Yeah,
start
one
the
of
show,
them.
huh?
the woman.
All right.
But I will say, Mark, it's never a glitch, it's always a feature.
Don't you fucking question Eugene.
I'm just
You'll
speaking
never
from
know
an
what he'll
IT
do to you.
standpoint. It's never a glitch.
It's
never a
am
glitch, it's always a
so
feature.
not in on this joke.
Me either.
We live in
I
a
really
virtual
don't understand
reality
the Eugene
ruled by a
reference.
programmer named Eugene. That's basically it. And there's no way of proving it's not true,
Yeah.
Sarah. So just, you got to
I think
go
I'm
along with
missing some updates and some
But
features.
Well, Dave's a
right? Agreed.
That's the second rule.
I definitely need a RAM upgrade.
As long as you don't follow that Dick Dave, because he's a real asshole.
Am I supposed to know who
If
that
you say
is?
Yeah, I have
He's
no
a
idea either.
programmer.
Sarah.
Dave
He
is-
sucks. His simulation is nothing
Yeah.
compared to this
He's like-
reality.
Okay, so there's Eugene,
Yes.
and then there's Dave, and Dave's the programmer, and Eugene is...
No, Eugene's
is
the
the
programmer
No.
for us, and Dave's got his own other world going. But Dave's
Simulation.
simulation sucks.
Dave is like the Satan of the simulation.
But how do we know
Because
Dave's a
he's
dick?
asshole.
It's like a picture in a
Eugene
picture.
said it.
Yeah.
How do we know
Oh,
Eugene's not the dick?
Whoa! You don't want to do that. Just,
I'm just
this is
asking.
dangerous.
I'm
I don't
just
know if we should be doing
asking.
this.
I mean, Jim, you're lucky you're not living, a couple hundred years ago in our simulation. You would have been burnt at the stake for that.
I don't know. The way it's going right now, that might not be too far off, my friend. But that's for another podcast.
Anyway, praise you,
Anyway.
Thanks, Eugene.
Mark, do you want to now let them know who's joining us today?
I have no idea. Who are these people?
Why are we here?
We have an actual a pair of professional podcasters, not like our
Right. The production value on their podcast is amazing.
And Matthew from the MurderCoaster, brand new podcast. I do believe that it was our podcast which was the inspiration for it. So, you're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
that.
Eugene.
I
Thank you,
hope
Jim.
that's not.
Praise Eugene.
Yeah, praise you, Gene.
I hope that's not true because the production value on yours is so much better than
We
this.
just,
You guys are so much better at it.
we just
I
record.
don't know.
on
That
Zoom.
remains to be seen. We just got here.
Yeah.
I
We,
do
we do at least 3 minutes of research.
10
per episode.
generally.
Hmm.
10.
Yeah.
I do have to say, it's
You do.
weird not to have like a big stack of show notes right
Yeah.
now.
Right.
We're total nerds. We write everything out.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
our podcast is fun. It's just like drunk people talking to each other.
We have fun. We
Pretty
just
much.
get drunk after.
Right, but you have to do the work beforehand, and we skip that part.
See, we don't, Mark. You do.
Is it work reading about serial killers all day? Ooh, I struck
It
them
wouldn't be for me.
silent.
That'd be a lot of fun. it wouldn't be for me. I'd be
Yeah.
having fun.
Well, I was just going to
Actually-
nitpick and point out that you write the bulk of what we talk about. So it's not just reading it. You wrote it.
Yeah, I write most of it. Sarah writes the psych parts. And then she also she wrote all about how Charlie Manson was involved with the CIA. That was some good work there.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
I
I get
don't
to
think I've gotten
write
your
for
Charlie
select
Manson.
episodes. But I can keep
You're
up with you.
welcome
You
to
go
write
too
as much
fast.
as
You
you
get
want.
obsessed with something. Yeah, as much as I have
Please.
time for.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, look, I finished an episode and it's been like 5 minutes since we recorded the last one. I'm like, fuck, okay.
Do you consider Manson a serial killer?
No, absolutely not.
Uh-oh.
No way. You didn't listen
Oh,
to
you're
the
going to
Manson
get Matthew
episode,
going.
did you? Because we make sure to say that he is absolutely 100% not a serial killer in any way,
And
shape, or form.
that's not to defend him.
Oh, he's an awesome.
We just
sex
define
cult
serial
leader.
killer. And yeah, no, he does not
And
fit
that-
the bill for serial killer objectively.
Correct. I agree with that statement.
So y'all should be talking about him then.
Well,
Just
we
saying.
shouldn't be,
I
or
don't
should?
know.
Well, it's MurderCoaster, not
Well, there
serial
was
killer
murders.
coaster.
Don't get me wrong. There was
Yes.
murder.
Right. That's
There-
that's
You don't
my
have to be a
point.
serial killer.
That's
And
my point.
You know, a serial killer is usually
I mean-
someone who takes, like, usually sexually sadistic pleasure in the act of killing, and it's usually not big part of a larger cult either. Although some of them will work in groups, but Manson did not take. He wasn't sexually thrilled by murdering people. That wasn't his thing. He was just, I don't know what his thing was. He was just being Charlie, man.
He did kill one.
He might have
person,
killed
right?
Shorty Shea, and he did shoot
Yeah.
Bernard Crowe right in the gut. He happened to live, but he's.
But
not
we
a
don't just
serial
cover serial killers.
No, not at all. As
Just
long as
murder.
murder's
There has to be a
involved.
murder.
Yeah.
As long as somebody's lost
Yeah.
their life.
So we just did one
No,
on this.
well, I don't.
The Poodle King. He's a
That's right.
famous Las Vegas showman who was murdered, but it was just one murder.
I think that's the episode I'm in the middle of right now.
Oh,
It's well,
I wrote large parts of that.
You did.
Thank you very much.
Did you?
I did.
Well, I'll give you
That was
some
one of my
feedback
big
when you're
ones.
done.
Right before I went and saw Dark Star Orchestra, I wrote like 20 pages of that.
and it is a
nice.
gay pride episode, Jim.
I will let you know how I feel at the end of
Okay.
it. You know, I am
That was
looking
good
gay
for
here
me. I
right
was
now.
all right. If he likes it, I'm not being too offensive.
Just like Jim wrote most of this episode.
So
Did I?
Eugene wrote everything.
All of
that
it.
he-
I don't feel like I had any input in this episode.
we're writing it as we go.
That's right. It's it's a fly by the seat of our pants kind of night. It's an and shit episode. It's just going to be whatever comes up.
Oh, okay.
Mark, you
so
actually
that's
had a
the
top-
part. Yeah, and shit.
Yeah, exactly, and shit. Mark, you had an actual topic you wanted to discuss, though, right?
I did. I don't know if, first of all, Sarah and Matthew, if you just want to plug your podcast a little bit more.
Hell yeah,
You
I
want
do.
to just tell the folks, both our listeners, Jim's mom and somebody else.
My niece and my sister.
Oh, Jim's mom. I've heard so much about you. Hello.
So there's a lot of true crime podcasts out there, right? So what makes yours different?
Well, I'm a horror writer, and Sarah is a licensed psychotherapist, or as I call it, psycho the rapist. And we have a.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, I couldn't I'm just so goddamn immature. I'm sorry. All right, so we get. I have a lot of fun, like I'm doing right now, and then Sarah has to deal with me and explain when I ask her questions like, "Why would Pazuzu file his teeth into fangs to kill small animals, and is that a healthy lifestyle?" She has to answer this.
Right. Could that be a healthy lifestyle? I get to use my professional opinion to answer that question, which I think we all have some inkling what the answer could be. But I don't know. Maybe that is super healthy. Maybe I'm the one who's not open-minded.
Maybe.
I kind of feel that having an actual therapist on here is good for Jim.
I thought you were his
Didn't I
therapist.
tell you, Sarah, that was going to come up? Didn't I tell you that was going to
Yeah,
come up?
you like the stories I've heard. You would not believe.
There have been some
It's
interesting
painful.
stories. Yeah.
Jim, do you want to just quickly go over your cinema experience?
My cinema. Oh, I don't want to have to tell the story again. But anyway, Mark likes to make fun of the fact that from the time I was 9 until about 13, I went to the movies alone 4 times. And all 4 times there were adult males pleasuring themselves that would sit next to me.
Ugh.
Dude, what
Man,
movies were you seeing?
Where do you live?
One was the Care Bears. One was the Transformers. And I don't remember the other two. So
What neighborhood?
one was Dick
where
Tracy.
were you exactly? Is it Florida?
It was over in Winter Haven, Florida. Yeah.
Huh. I feel like I don't enjoy movies as much as those guys do.
Right. And Mark does not seem to understand the fact that that's why I won't go to the movies alone ever anymore.
That's
I
heroin.
mean, I
But Jim, you're
understand
not-
it.
You ever read
Not
the
9
Little
years old
Things?
anymore.
It's a real famous novel. But there's a scene
I'm sorry, what now?
that happens in that book, just like that kind of little boy. Well, it's a little worse. He gets actually grabbed up, but
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. But
not a
I
little
just
thing.
that's why I don't-
usually how our podcast goes is we'll get more revelations dropped on us during the episode. So.
The
I
Care
have
Bears.
stories.
Oh.
I have stories. I have lived. Mark, I'm sorry. So anyway, what do you want to talk about, Mark?
Okay, so I thought just to tie in with Matthew and Sarah's
MurderCoaster.
podcast, we would talk about serial killers. I know it's not just serial killers, but serial killers in horror movies. And this is more about realistic, either based on actual serial killers or fictional serial killers that aren't like the zombie Jason Voorhees, etc.
But you did say no slashers, which I have a problem with.
I want to clarify
No.
that as well.
How do you even
Right.
define slasher?
Because Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes up for me very quickly. And
Right.
is that a slasher to you?
No, it's art.
It is.
It's a gray area, and we will call them.
Well, how about Henry
But
Portrait
for
of a
instance,
Serial
like-
Killer? Slasher or no? You don't even see the killings. No.
No,
Okay. All right.
no.
What
And again,
about,
it's based on a real.
Cool.
What
Barely.
about
I
the
mean,
Scream
like they
series?
called them Henry and Otis, but come on, it was nothing like the actual real people, like their lives.
No, well, I mean, it's based on a person. Now, that person was a huge liar, right? But still, I just wanted to shy away from talking about Freddy Krueger or Jason. I wanted to
ready?
give it a little bit more real.
Would Henry Lee Lucas have given a fuck if Otis Toole tried to fuck his sister? See?
Nope.
Fictional movie.
Oh yeah. No. No, like I say, I mean, these are fictional movies that could be based on real people, but
Well, like
also
they said, The
fictional.
Strangers is
Wait,
based
what?
on the Manson case, and they're like, how the fuck?
What?
Yeah,
No, it's not. How?
that's what I say.
what?
It says right on it, based on a true story, and you look it up, and they're like, oh, it's like a
That's the true story,
it's
though?
one of them. There's like several, but yeah, they said it's heavily based on that.
See, I was
Which
on
one?
board.
Maybe
The
I need to
Strangers?
watch it
How about the
again.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Stranger?
Says it's just a straight up true story in the beginning.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I guess
Supposed to
it
be
is
Ed Gein.
definitely not. No, it's Ed Gein, and then so is Psycho, right?
Yeah, so
Right,
are lots
right.
of them.
Mhm.
Ed Gein was the guy.
Right.
He was
He is
twisted.
pretty scary.
Yeah.
But he's more of like somebody who digs up bodies. He's not really as much of a murderer.
I guess you get you get good imagery, like you get good horror imagery for that, like
ghoul, not a
furniture
serial
made of
killer.
body parts and like masks made out of human skin. That's good horror imagery to me.
belts made out
Yeah,
of
that
nipples.
is. You're right.
He was like the first decorator.
Yeah.
You might need a spare vagina laying around. He had them all over.
I don't.
He would put them in his pants and dance in the
I have
moonlight.
I was going to ask what you would do with that, but
There you
I
go.
don't think I want the answer.
You put it in your pants
Yeah,
and
and
dance. in
I
the
have no
moonlight.
need for. I have no need for that, so I think I'll pass. Thank you.
Yeah, that's Jim's
I also have
kryptonite
no
right
need
there.
for that.
Right? It's
I'm all set.
anyway. Yeah. Anyway. So Mark.
So anyway, just bring up whatever movies you want, and we can qualify them as slashers or whatever you
So
want to do.
let's start with the Scream series, Mark.
The Scream series.
Those are all slasher flicks. Would you consider them serial killers?
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
I mean, maybe, Jim. Do you understand the word maybe?
So define your criteria is what I'm asking.
I probably wouldn't,
And why?
because I don't.
Here's another thing.
No,
It's
just
another one.
Okay.
It's supposedly based on the Gainesville Ripper. You ever hear that? That the first Scream is based on the Gainesville Ripper, and which is
I did not hear that.
you'll see it around every once in a while, which is absolute 100%.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck are you talking about? It is nothing like the case at all.
Yeah, I don't give it any credibility as far as being real. However, it's my understanding that to qualify as a serial killer, there has to be a link between the victims, whether it's a physical characteristic, background, whatever. Right?
Not necessarily. Look at Jeffrey Dahmer, all the different
No.
types of people he killed. White, black,
I would.
whatever.
But they were all gay.
Well, I mean,
is Jaws a serial killer?
I'm sorry?
He has to.
No,
Is
he's a
Jaws-
fish.
He.
Well, they called him Bruce, so I'm assuming.
well, some of those people knew how to swim, so I guess that's a common link between them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess so.
They-
Yeah. I mean, you could, if you want to get technical, sure.
Varying different levels of swimming, but some of them did
Right. Parts of them floated. You know.
at times.
They all bled red.
Right.
Isn't
So
Net-
I'll run down a few movies
Okay.
and just with your own thoughts. And some of these you may or may not have seen. The first one that I brought up is The Untold Story. Are any of you familiar with that?
No,
That's
but I
what
know
it's
it's one of your
called, The
favorite
Untold
movies
Story?
from the 90s.
I've never heard
Yes.
of that. That sounds like it should be like a tagline on a movie, not like the title of a movie.
It's a foreign film from the 90s, right, Mark?
It's a Cat 3 movie. Jim, do you want to explain to our audience what Cat 3 is again?
No, because I don't retain that information. So why don't you explain it?
Okay, so Cat 3 is a film classification in Hong Kong cinema, which is equivalent to the X rating, right? So there's been a bunch of really great Cat 3 movies. This one stars Anthony Wong, who you may or may not know of, but he won the Hong Kong equivalent of an Oscar for this. Now, this is a real, based on a real story about this guy who basically kills this family, including children, and takes over their restaurant. Now, he soon, because he's a sleazy fucker, he's like, starts to like rape and kill people. And in order to get rid of the bodies, he puts them in their pork buns and serves them to his customers.
Oh, so sort of like Sweeting Todd. Okay.
Yeah, but no music.
Right.
There's
Right.
a lot of true
So
life cases of
this
that
is
as well.
yeah. And this is a sleazy classic, and if you like that sort of movie, I highly recommend.
Oh, cool.
I'm
I'll
gonna
try
have to check
it
that out. I've never even heard of that.
Jinx.
Anthony Wong is amazing in it. He also starred in other Cat 3 flicks like the Ebola Syndrome and things like that. The Ebola Syndrome was funny.
Ebola syndrome? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Never heard of that either.
Yes.
Was that?
So basically he contracts Ebola because he was raping some woman who had Ebola. But he is one of the people that is actually immune to it but can spread it.
Oh, man.
Typhoid
And
Man.
he goes on a sleazy road trip, and it's
All right.
crazy. But he's amazing.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to write that one down too. Haven't seen either of those.
Yep. Oh, I
You know what's a
recommend it.
really cool flick, man? And it's definitely not a slasher. I don't even know if you would call it horror. Is My Friend Dahmer.
Oh,
I have not
I
seen that.
watched that a
I've not
while
heard of that
ago.
one.
That was interesting. I wouldn't have put it in the horror category either. I was waiting for I don't know,
I mean,
more
it's
violence.
kind of horrific. You know what I mean? It ends
mean,
with his first kill and shit. So, but it's about him in high
It's-
school, and like it's really a coming of age drama of a young gay serial killer. It's an intense flick.
It's scary in a very subtle way. Like I was on edge the whole time, but
I mean, that
didn't
guy
go where
wrote
I thought
the
it was
best
gonna go.
friend. You know,
I have not even seen the Dahmer movie with Jeremy Renner.
oh,
Ever
yeah.
seen that one?
Yeah,
Is it?
Netflix it's amazing. I've watched it twice. It's 10 hours long.
I disagree.
Wait, that's the new one with Evan
Oh,
Peters?
wait. You're
Do I have
talking
that
about
right?
the old
No, no,
one.
no.
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
Right.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
The
it.
The
movie.
new one was the 10-hour
Yeah.
like mini
I
series.
don't know. I got confused there.
Right,
Sorry.
right.
The one
And-
you're
No,
talking
I
about
did too, that's why I
takes
asked.
place in the apartment the night of his last kill, right?
I think so.
I think so.
The
haven't
new
seen
one
it.
on Netflix is
What?
insanely good.
Ooh.
It's so good.
It's so
Did you
good.
guys-
See, I didn't
So
like it at all.
horrifying though.
Long.
I did not like
You
it.
didn't like it. Why?
No, it was too sympathetic towards Dahmer.
How?
I felt that they were like the scenes where he was canoodling and where they tried to show him as conflicted. It just didn't sit well with me.
You don't like you?
But,
You have a problem with
of
Jeffrey
all-
Dahmer?
I do.
Okay.
Of all
I gotta
the
say,
thrill
though,
killers,
And I don't
the
know.
most-
I don't know if maybe this is just an unwarranted perspective, but I loved Evan Peters in American Horror Story. I had
Right.
such a huge crush
Oh, yeah.
on him, and I found him tremendously off-putting and terrifying and completely unsympathetic in the Dahmer
I
miniseries.
thought him a
Like, I
little
hated it.
sympathetic. I thought they evened it out. I felt it was evenly handed because they also showed a lot of the victims. A lot of it was about the victims and the victims'
They did.
families. But yeah, I mean, when they were showing his childhood, even the whole thing, it was kind of sympathetic to him.
And see
I-
that's
I
the,
just-
that's the
again, I mean, when you look at serial killers, I do find him on the more sympathetic side.
Right.
Not obviously saying what he was right, but he obviously was struggled with a lot of things, right? And he was glad he was caught in the end, right? And you can't say that for a lot of serial killers.
He immediately
so-
confessed,
don't
opened
know.
himself up, told everybody everything.
Yeah, and he tried to confess, right? Prior to that, like to his dad and stuff, and they just wouldn't listen to him. So
Maybe
better subject to
that's
bring
a
up.
topic of conversation for us, though, too, because, like, if we're talking about movies about serial killers, like Natural Born Killers as a movie created a lot of controversy in regards to how they felt like they were glorifying the serial
Yep.
killers that were portrayed. And I feel like the question that comes up a lot of times when you're discussing true crime is, how do we discuss this realistically without glorifying the killer, but still maintaining like a level of accuracy? How
and
do you
that's the
feature
part
that?
That's the part I had an issue with the new Dahmer. Was there? I felt exactly the opposite of what Matt did. I felt that they spent very little time showcasing the victims. All of it was about what they showed for Jeffrey Dahmer, with the exception of the one episode they dedicated to, I think the victim's name was Tony, who he actually tried to have a relationship with, which again tries to show him in a sympathetic light where he's fighting against.
No, there was a whole episodes
but
about all the different. There was the whole Jesse Jackson thing, and Jesse Jackson going there. I mean, there was a lot of that.
Don't forget the neighbor.
Yes,
I feel
she was
like
a huge part of
I
the
would've-
story. Yeah,
She was. You're right, and she was
She was a
ignored for
focal
most
point.
of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
she's one of the main focal points.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just that's where my disdain for that series came from. That and the fact that I got these glasses at the same time, and that's all I hear about.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
But at the same time, though, I feel like the neighbor being ignored and like kind of watching her try to assist the police in catching him and watching them or watching her be thwarted in trying to get him reported was also like a huge social statement throughout
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
the whole
agree.
series.
And I will say, Niecy Nash did a fantastic job portraying that neighbor.
Yes.
I thought she was
I mean,
fantastic.
in a way, it was
And-
like
and you
a
have to-
really BLM supporting film. If you think about it, when Jesse Jackson comes out
Yeah.
there and they're saying the police don't do anything because they're young black men. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
It's-
Especially
it's-
relevant now.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
And I don't even know if it's the black. I mean, that's a part of it, but
And gay, yeah.
I think it's the
For sure.
gay thing, right? Because they like the cops were like, "Oh, we're kind of embarrassed to be in this situation,"
Yeah.
so they just wanted the situation to go
They
away.
said they wanted to go get
Whereas
Dean
I don't
Louse.
know that.
Mm.
Right. I
Right.
mean, they even sent the 13 or 15-year-old Asian kid back to him
Yep.
because he said it was his
They
boyfriend that he
sure
was
did.
having a fight with.
And that's they were just like, it's almost like they were embarrassed.
And they played
Right,
the
and
actual
the neighbor-
phone call that the neighbor made saying, "Are you sure
Yep.
this boy is of age? Are you sure? Because he doesn't look like he's 18 to me." And they're like, "Ma'am, It's a boyfriend situation. Just forget it.
Yeah, that's
Right.
fucked up. And that was the
He was
actual
dead
audio
15
from that
minutes
call.
later, dude. 15 minutes later, that kid was dead.
And that's where whenever I say Dahmer is sympathetic to a certain extent, he's smart, right? He knows he's going to go to the cops and he's going to play the cops with their bigotry and stuff. He's going to like fully do, oh, we're gay and we're having a fight and and really make them just feel like
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think he's that
He's
cunning or
deaf.
smart. It's more like just like he's a psychopath and is able to stay calm under pressure. I mean, you ever watch
Yeah,
the
I guess
footage
you'd
of
be
him in
more
the courtroom when that lady
logical.
comes at him? When the sister of the one victim, like, she fucking like leaps
Yeah.
up and comes right at him. She's gonna fuck him up, and he's
Yeah.
just like dead calm, doesn't even blink, just sits there.
I-
Spooky.
I'm sure you've watched the footage of him and his dad, right? That
Mhm.
were interviewed.
Yes. Oh,
And it's just such an interesting, interview. Like for both of them, like how are these people interacting with each other? And it's his dad. And his dad, like he's a. It's just like you don't really see that with any other serial killer that I know. Them sitting down with their dad for an interview and talking about how they grew up and everything else.
Luca Magnotta and his mom,
it's
maybe, but
pretty-
he's not even really a serial killer.
Oh God.
Fuck that guy.
fuck his mom.
I hate that.
He's terrible too.
Right. Yeah, she
We
was.
did we had to do a 2-parter on him. I'm all about him. I mean, I don't like him. I don't think there's much there. He's such a mirror image of a mirror image.
He's such a, like-
it's like nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. There's no substance to that guy at all.
He's a
He's
fake
a
of a
product
fake of a fake.
of like this.
Yeah.
He's a product of like social media.
Absolutely.
Attention seeking fucking
Yeah.
bullshit.
Right, but that in itself like begs some very interesting questions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's true.
We get very deep in it, and you can hear it on MurderCoaster. www.murdercoasterpodcast.com.
Murder poster.
Also on TikTok.
Well, you can't hear that episode until June.
Oh,
I think
never
that's when
mind.
we release it.
We won't
Yeah.
release that.
No, we didn't. We're not done with
We have
that.
like 13 episodes recorded.
We did. We have them all
Jeez.
edited. They're just
Wow.
not out into the world yet.
Yeah.
See, they're on top of it, Mark. Whereas I have two episodes to edit tonight.
I don't envy you for having to edit this one. It's got to be difficult with 4 participants too.
To be perfectly honest, I don't edit a whole lot of the audio. It's more like the dead space and the timing. So if things start to lag, I'll speed it up a little bit.
Oh, good. I'll watch my language just in case you're not going to cut out the dumb shit that I say.
Oh no, I'll never cut out shit.
Oh no, everything's included.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Generally, I don't cut out any of the audio unless I have to, unless it sounds really crappy.
I have another movie recommendation. Another one which I had heard was kind of another sleazy, kind of depressing classic, which is the German movie Angst.
What year is this?
Never seen it.
Angst was made in mid-80s.
Oh, I don't think I know it.
You're killing me. I feel like I'm a pretty seasoned horror fan,
Yeah.
and now you've named 3 movies that I haven't seen, and I'm a little bit sad.
He's
I
very,
will have more to follow, I'm sure.
Damn,
Yeah,
dude,
Angst,
it's brutal.
Angst, I heard, was just like this, like depressing stuff. But actually, when I watched it, some of it was pretty funny. And one of the most disgusting pieces in it is like, and again, it's based on a real guy. This guy eating a sausage. It's just like the grossest thing.
Oh,
I don't know why. Tim?
I have nothing. I've never seen it.
Say more.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna pass.
What was
I'm
the
going
one
to
we
be
just
focused.
watched the other day, Sarah? Necro Romantica?
Oh yeah.
You know the one I'm
Hell,
talking about? It's
I think
a German
you
80s
have-
film, too?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yes,
Jim? I mean, Mark?
My brain wants to say Necronomicon, but that's
No,
not right.
no, it's
That's
like
because I just watched Evil
necro-romance.
Dead. It's
Necro-romance.
necromantic.
It's necromantic.
Necromantic.
Yeah,
It's
necromantic.
necromantic.
Yeah. That's it. That's classic.
Necromantic 1 and 2.
Right.
There's a second one.
The same director made another movie called The Toter King about suicide, which I haven't seen.
Do you guys
No,
like the new Maniac?
I gotta
with
backtrack a
Elijah
little
Wood?
bit.
Sorry.
I have not seen it.
So Elijah Wood, number one, is a huge horror nerd, and I love that about him. I didn't know how that movie would have worked. Thinking about Joe Spinell,
Yeah.
right?
I know. I love that.
Big,
guy.
greasy Joe Spinell in the dirty, 80s New York, right? And how can a remake work with 5'8" Elijah Wood, skinny, good looking? How would this work? But it did, because they did what a remake should do. They added something to it, and that was how they filmed it, right? So it was that first person point of view, and that totally worked for it. I like both of them.
The first person POV thing was not working for me. It just wasn't for me personally. But I mean, it really annoyed the fuck out of me.
Okay, so don't watch Hardcore Henry then.
Hardcore Henry.
Have you seen Hardcore Henry?
It's first person.
I've heard of that one at least, so at least it's familiar to me now. So thank you for that.
Hardcore Henry is fantastic. It's got Sharp Little Copley. What's his name from that alien movie, District 9?
Right.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it was good, right?
But this movie is 100% first person perspective. It's like a video game. But
I don't even
movie,
like it for porn.
And you should actually just even watch it just to see. I'm watching it. I'm like, the camera goes through like cars and stuff, and like, how did they shoot this? It's disorientating and it's fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, but I have to ask. I really do. How does this relate to our topic? Is there a serial killer tie-in? It doesn't.
No, it ties into Maniac.
Okay, then I guess I'm just being an ass.
I
can bring it back.
It's a segue from Maniac. Yeah, it's a segue from Maniac.
Okay, so here's another one which you may hopefully have heard of.
I got to ask one before you go. You asked me a bunch of them. Clovich Killer is the one that came up for me. Has anyone seen that one?
Of course I have.
I have not.
He's like the BTK, right?
Yes. I knew you would know what I was talking about. That one was great. What year did that come out? Was it 2015?
Or was it more recent?
I can't remember.
I don't
the
know.
guy, the main character thinks his dad is a serial killer, and it's
a coming of age story where your father is Dennis Rader.
Yes.
Wow. How did I not hear of this?
It's pretty cool.
No, you need to see it.
There's a couple really.
I do.
I do.
I
cool
need to.
thing with the POV, where they switch POVs, and you think one thing's happening, and then like they shoot back in time, kind of, and you see it from a different character's perspective, and you see it. It's all different. It's nothing like you thought it was, and that was pretty cool.
It's 2018.
2018?
Yeah.
Okay, 2018. So more recent than I thought. I don't know what's going on anymore, but if you haven't seen it, it's great.
Especially
that's a good recommendation.
He does all that weird shit where he ties himself up with like women's makeup and shit and takes photographs of himself, which BTK did. And BTK almost like got himself stuck a couple times like that, all like covered in his makeup and tied up with a Polaroid, and he could push a button and get a Polaroid picture. And it's like the son finds imagine you're like gonna go through your dad's room and shit and see something like I don't know, whatever, and you find these Polaroids of him like tied to a tree. Oh
God. He went a long time without getting caught though.
Yeah.
So
he's a fucking idiot. I can't believe he did that. He would have got away with it.
He reminds me a lot of Gacy. They're both kind of like social chameleons.
Yeah.
Where they put on their family face and their job face, and then they.
So I have a huge problem with the Gacy case. Like, I don't understand. He had, 28 bodies under his porch? And he had 2 marriages, one of which broke up because of the smell emanating from his porch. How was that no more of a focus for the cops? Like, why were his neighbors not complaining? Why was his wife there for so long? Like, why did nobody go look?
It was the 70s, man. It was normal.
That's your excuse for everything.
Right?
because he wasn't outwardly a weirdo.
He dressed like a scary clown and like
Well, right,
he was
a
like been
clown for a
arrested
kid's
for
birthday
molesting
party.
children and shit.
Right? He's a groomer now.
From a more
But to his
for
community.
fucking the dead bodies. He was so fucking
Right?
Right.
Do that,
But back
John.
then,
What?
you couldn't just look somebody up on the internet and see if they're
Right,
creepy,
right.
right? And see if they've done stuff. So he just moved to a different area. He just put on his mask again, and he just like, hey, I'm this, I go to church and I'm running these like union or whatever the hell.
Yeah, it's called the
But
Junior
he just put on
Jaycees. The Jaycees.
But I guess, though, that's where, like, the social media question comes up, too. Like, okay, there's, like, that double-sided coin. Is, like, the fascination with true crime perpetuating these types of incidences because people see it as a way to become a celebrity? Or is, like, the prevalence of social media going to help people catch these killers faster than back in the age before we had that type of technology?
I was talking to my wife about this earlier on. I'm saying, like, you don't really hear about serial killers so much now, right? Mostly you hear mass shooters, right? And you can say, well, what's the influence of social media on that, right? And you go out with a bang, right? People will go like, I'm just done. I just want to go out, and if I have a manifesto or something, I can like leave it there. Just grab a fucking, assault rifle and just go blow a bunch of people away. And then people will be interested in my story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
But you don't really get serial killers
Well,
anymore.
they catch them so fast. We had that guy in Iowa just recently. Was it Iowa up there on the border of Washington? You know what I'm talking about? And he went into the house and killed the girls. You guys have to know.
That does sound
familiar.
The guys at
really
college.
pretty blonde.
Yeah.
And he's definitely a serial killer. He never got the chance to actually become a killer who cools down, restarts, because they fucking got him. But he fits every fucking checkbox.
Well, what you were saying before too, like a lot of these bigger cases where like they find like 28 dead bodies underneath somebody's house, like there's a severe case of like police negligence accompanying that where like they could have been caught a bunch of times when you look at it retrospectively, but they weren't.
But look at the case in San Antonio right now where they're trying to connect the dots and the police won't listen to anybody because of all the young women that are disappearing right now.
I don't even know about that. I'll just tell you that.
Jim, do you want to confess something?
No, I don't live in San Antonio, so I got nothing for you, sir.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
But it is a thing. I heard about it on the news the other day.
There was a guy who was shooting people in San Francisco. I mean, he's technically a serial killer. I mean, I guess it's like the son of Sam. He did the same thing. Did you hear about him? He killed a lot of people. I think at least this is very.
I've never
recently.
heard of Son of Sam.
They just got him maybe 6 months ago. I've never been to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Speaking of old Son of Sam, what did you guys think of the film? Since we're talking about movies, right? Summer of Sam. I mean, it's not technically a horror film.
I actually enjoyed. I liked that movie. I did.
haven't seen it in a while.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Lee.
That's absolutely right. Nicolas Cage.
I still
Cage plays punk rocker. I think it's a fabulous film. I really love it.
I thought it was, and it was nice and I liked the feel because if I remember correctly, it was really gritty, wasn't it? Like it was filmed almost like a grindhouse film.
Right.
So I really loved the feel. The only thing I didn't like was when they tried to do the CGI dog talking.
Oh, you didn't like? I thought that was cool.
I forgot about that.
I just thought it looked terrible. Weird. I liked that they highlighted that because he said that's where he was getting his orders from, but I did not like the CGI element. It didn't look. It didn't look right. It didn't look
You
right.
would have preferred an actual stunt dog to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, you
They
give
did
him
it with-
something to chew on, and then you like
Right.
superimpose the voice over top of the dog eating.
I think that's what they
Exactly.
did with
Yeah,
Invasion
like
of the
they
Body
did with
Snatchers back in the 70s.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I have a pretty groundbreaking movie, a Belgian movie. Man Bites
Oh,
Dog.
yeah, I remember that.
never saw it.
I thought it was French. Is it Belgium?
Sarah? Belgian. Man Bites Dog, man.
It's like
No,
old black
no.
and white 90s
I got
movie.
nothing.
It's pretty
No,
cool.
you're just showing off now.
He has a very specific niche when it comes to
So,
horror.
so basically, and this is very interesting because it's a film crew, right, that decides to shoot a documentary around a serial killer. However, as they're following the serial killer around, who's still killing people while they're filming him and they're interviewing him and stuff, they get more and more involved in the killings.
Okay.
And it's done in documentary style.
It's like that short story I talked about in the snuff film episode, remember? It's like and that was written in what, 1902?
Oh, yeah.
Sometime like that. Where these journalists stage a murder
yeah.
to talk about it because true crime was such a huge topic in 1902. And everyone's like, whoa, why is everyone constantly talking about true crime? That was
History repeats itself
120
again.
years ago. They were
does.
saying this. What is this new surging interest?
So,
I got a Dutch movie for you. A Dutch movie for you, The Vanishing. You ever see that one?
Yes. Okay.
yes,
Thank you for talking about something I've seen.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
That ending, man. That
Other
ending
than-
is. I mean, phew.
So that
Man, wipe smoke.
The Hitcher, I think, is a good double bill with that.
What is?
oh, I do like the Hitcher. The Hitcher I've seen. I like that with Rutger Hauer.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
Hauer,
That's a
yeah.
classic.
It's got that similar feel.
Sometimes
I
Hauer's
haven't watched
fantastic.
it, but I'll skip it because I don't want to feel like I'm showing off.
Why
I retract
are you
my
being bashful
comment.
now?
It's okay to
No.
have seen lots of good films. It's just a little
Mark-
sad that I can't participate.
I don't understand
So-
why he's being bashful now, though.
How about talk about German
So two
expressionism,
class-
and we'll get into M. Peter Lorre.
And yeah, Peter Lorre, yeah. So we'll talk about something Hitchcock related. We have two. We have Psycho,
Mhm.
and we have Frenzy.
Yes.
I don't know Frenzy, but I obviously know Psycho.
Frenzy is lovely.
Psycho's another one of those ones that's based on Ed Gein, but is so it's
Mm-hmm.
But it's only based on one part of Ed Gein. It's based on his obsession with his mother and the fact that he kept her.
it's
dead
also
body.
based on his
Well, it's not really
on
based on-
transsexualism. You know what I mean? And he dressed like a woman.
Yeah.
And same with Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw.
Well,
And
yeah,
I thought
that-
they got away with it. But do you remember Brian De Palma's Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill?
I do know.
Mhm.
And that, the
Yep,
killer,
yep.
the serial killer,
But-
kills because he's a transsexual, basically, and it's. I found it very offensive. I don't like that. I just thought it thematically. It's also seriously racist. Brian De Palma's got some fucking issues, man.
Yeah, well,
Speaking along the lines, we could talk about Cruising
yes,
with Al Pacino,
absolutely.
right?
Oh,
Of course.
I love him so much.
everybody
It's
does.
not horror, but because it ties to The Exorcist, right? Because it's based on the guy that was in The Exorcist that ended up being a serial killer,
Right.
and then directed.
It's also
by
based on a
this
true
guy.
story. The guy was called the Garbage Bag Killer, and they called him that because he would go
Yeah,
to gay S&M
Yeah.
clubs and take people back and chop them
Yeah.
up and put them in garbage bags and throw the garbage bags in the river.
yeah, he was a extra in.
Well,
The
that has
Exorcist.
not been
Right.
proven, so
Yeah.
you might want to say he's alleged to be because he could listen to
But-
this and sue you. I don't think he's even alive, but
Oh, yeah.
he has
No,
never-
Gerard
he's
John
never been
Schaefer territory
proven
here.
of that.
No, no,
You know, everyone
it is-
suspects that it's the guy who shot her up in
it
The
is-
Exorcist.
it-
yeah.
No, it is the same character because William Friedkin interviewed him before making Cruising while he was in jail, and he was
Oh,
that
my
extra
God.
in the hospital.
It's so weird, huh?
He was an orderly.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah.
The new season of American
Um,
Horror Story seemed to be doing that. I watched a few of the episodes. It seemed
Wait,
good.
Is it out? The one with Kim Kardashian, is it out now?
No, this is last
Oh, God.
season's.
No.
It was based on cruising.
Oh.
So
Well, then it's not really
thank
new, is it? It's just the latest one.
Okay, thank you for using your semantics to correct
You're
me.
welcome. You're welcome. You got me excited for a
If
second.
only
I
you
wanted to
proofread our
run to my
scripts as
computer
well as
and
you're
watch it.
proofreading my dialogue now.
Yeah, no. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then we'll be reading it. And I'm like, this date is wrong. This spelling's wrong. And you're like, oh, I told you to proofread it. Well, I did a shitty job. I don't know what to tell you.
Your
but
mass
thank you for
murder
bringing it.
statistics were so all over the place. I was laughing when I was reading it. I was like, is she not
Dude,
noticing what she's saying?
you gave me no definition for this at all.
Didn't know that. Do you know this, guys? There's no definition for a mass shooting or mass shooter. Isn't that crazy?
I thought it was like over 3 people or
But
something.
then
I guess the FBI says it's over 4.
But
then
can say
there's
that
a bunch of
wounded or
different
4
discrepancies.
killed. And here's another thing: if it's domestic or terrorist, I mean, or gang related, because gangs are always shooting each other all the time. Is that? I mean, it technically is.
Right. That's such a gray area, and I did include that in the statistics, like completely. Just threw it right in there, and obviously it threw our
another
numbers.
statistic that didn't have it, so
And then it was contradictory. Yeah. So sorry.
it's all right. We figured it. I didn't
So-
know. I had to figure all that out.
I took 3 statistics classes in grad school. That's it. That's all they gave me. So I'm not a mathematician over here by any means.
It's almost just like a labeling thing, right? Like
Right.
nobody can agree how to label something, but you can just look objectively and say, "Oh, this person like shot 5 people and 2 of them died. Does that make him a mass shooter?"
Why did he
Right, well,
do
it's
it?
psychology.
Was it
Like they call that it's an operational definition. You need to define the operational definition of a term before you can study it. And there's so many operational definitions of mass shooting that I came across that I just threw it all together and gave it to Matthew. I'm sorry.
I used Wikipedia mostly, and I found on Wikipedia they define mass shooting exactly like I do. It's usually like one person who's like lost their fucking noodle. They don't say that. They don't quote me on Wikipedia there.
That's not the scientific term.
No, that is in public in a public space killed at least 4 people, and it's not gang related, and it's not terrorism, and it's not a domestic dispute either.
So, is there a difference between mass shooting and mass killing?
Yes, shooting use guns.
Because not everybody.
Right, but you don't really hear that.
You're an ass.
I mean,
Mass killing.
the title itself, Mark, tells you the
talking to me?
difference.
No.
Got my eye on
Because
you.
mass killing means they died. Mass shooting.
No.
People
What I'm
survived
saying
being
is,
shot.
yeah, but mass killing could be a bomb.
Right.
Right.
So
That's-
a mass shooting would use a
right.
gun.
Right, but mass shooting could also be you've just injured a bunch of people.
It depends how you define
Right.
Right?
it. No,
But mass killing
not
could be with a gun.
according to
So I don't-
Wikipedia. It's 4 people have to die.
I don't.
So
Dude, I
essentially,
feel like
not
this
all,
conversation needs to be had with less laughter. It's
so
little.
not all mass
it's little-
shootings are mass killings, and not all mass killings are mass shootings, is what you're saying. We're just arguing
Well, I'm
semantics.
just saying labeling's
Not
weird.
only is that
and
true,
it
but mass
probably
shootings aren't.
deflects.
CNN defines a mass shooting as anytime 4 people are injured in a public shooting. I mean, and that happens. That
And
can
that
happen
makes
all
sense,
the fucking
okay.
time, dude. That's not what
But
we're talking
it
about, like in
does.
Las Vegas, or like we just did the 1984
Right.
San Ysidro McDonald's massacre. You know about that one? That's like that was the number 1 for a while, and it's just a completely different animal. It's like saying Charlie Manson's a serial killer, and you're like, and someone could be like, well, he did kill someone. And you're like, yeah, he might have killed someone, but he's not a fucking serial killer. You know?
I think there's just no authority, like a body of authority that says, "Hey, this is what it is." Right? It's just
Well, the
people's
FBI did define serial
definition.
killer. Why don't they define mass killer? I mean,
I think they do, though. They have an operational definition of that. I just found a whole bunch of other different studies that study different things, and I threw them all into the same
does
Word
the FBI
document and
say?
gave them to you.
I'm curious.
But hang on, but
I'm
but
sorry,
who's the
Sarah.
authority?
You
on
did
it,
an
right?
awesome job. I
No.
used a lot of that stuff. It was just one.
I know you
and I
did.
started
I'm just giving
laughing.
you shit.
I was like, you do amazing.
No, this is why we work, though, because like you're not gonna let me get away with half-assing anything. Like this is what we do. perfectionists.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
with
we'll
me
be
and
like,
Jim.
holy shit. Did we say there was nobody in that, but in the back room there was actually somebody? No, we got to retape that. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, we've re-recorded whole episodes for like
Many
one
times.
inaccuracy. Yeah,
Or edited.
we do our best.
Yeah.
You have way more patience and professionalism.
It's a
than
different
we
type of podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
do. People fart
It is.
on
It isn't.
multiple
It isn't
times. I
entirely
will
different.
dispute this one.
I mean, they are dealing a lot more with facts, and we are more subjective, Mark. So we can really just talk shit for an hour, 2 hours, whereas they need
I mean,
to
even
get
if you were
it
talking
right.
about true crime, it's like I listen to podcasts where people do the true crime like this, where they have no script. They just get together and they're all experts in their field and talk shit and crack each other up. But what we do is just a little different. It's more of a narrative structure, like more like a story.
Yep.
I've said this before. My reason for doing this podcast is because my wife doesn't want to listen to me talk about horror movies. So I'm like, if anybody else wants to listen, cool. I don't care. Whatever. But it gets it off my shoulders. So you might not know, I'm from the UK originally.
Really? I didn't know.
Now living. Yeah, I'm from Northern Ireland.
Oh.
Came here 20 years ago. So I decided I'll include a British serial killer movie based on a true life person, which is 10 Rillington Place.
Oh, that's a good one. I was gonna bring that up too. That
With
was
Richard Adam.
very accurate, as far as I could tell when I was watching it. I was like, they didn't change a lot.
Right, and John Hurt's in it too, and you can see the manipulation by Richard Attenborough's character. And back then, I think the movie was made in 1970, but obviously it was set back a number of years from the original. But it's very very British as far as like society and who this guy was and how he manipulated people. So yeah. I'm glad, Sarah, you've seen one of the movies.
All right, I got a British
Me
one.
too. I feel validated now. This is like my little redemption. Thank you.
How about Longford? Did you see that about Myra Hindley?
No, I know about Myra Hindley.
It's this guy who's like this famous lawyer named Longford, and he was trying to get her released. He was trying to get her paroled. And it's like the story of that. So it's like it takes place in like I think the late 1980s.
Aim Brady was the other guy in that.
Yeah.
And
The
so this was a huge scandal in the UK whenever I was growing up. And
brutal,
basically they kidnapped kids. Yeah, and they taped them torturing them
with a little drummer boy in
so
the
that they
background.
could listen back. Yeah.
Why am I laughing? I don't know.
You shouldn't laugh when you say that.
Your brain will crack if you. I haven't heard them, but I have read the transcripts, and then read the transcripts while the little drummer boy was playing on a separate thing, so I could like really feel myself.
Yeah, there's a couple of good documentaries on it, and they were called the Murders because the Murders is like
Is that how you pronounce it? I always say Moors.
Yes. No, same.
Nerds.
We mentioned both of these in the Luca episode,
Morse.
which doesn't exist yet technically. But in June, we mentioned both of these.
Well, because Luca Magnotta used the names of the victims in his like YouTube videos, like as the server name. Like, who's this coming from? And he's got like children that were murdered. Man, that's the names he used to send his fucking YouTube videos.
Wow.
So, please jump in. I just have a list and I'm just rhyming them up. So this totally fictional one. 7.
Yeah.
What do you
Love it.
7.
7. Is that
It was a great
the
film.
7 deadly sins?
Yeah.
Like each murder
Yes.
is a okay.
What's in the
I
box?
actually recently
What's in the
rewatched
box?
that, and I loved it even more the second time. So good.
So
Yeah.
good.
I agree.
Jim?
I loved the movie when it first came out. I can honestly say though, I have never rewatched it.
I think it's an absolute classic. And
Absolutely.
everybody involved in it is fantastic.
Agreed.
But that's not
okay.
not based on any actual serial killer, though, correct?
Right. As far as we know.
You know what's
As far as we know.
So
Zodiac?
yep. That was next on my list.
It is. Haha.
Was that what you were going to say next? For real?
Wow,
Yep.
cool.
Oh,
How
nice.
cool is that?
Nice
We're
job.
synced.
Yep.
I have two next on my list, and Zodiac was the first one because I'm like, let's think of some real life movies.
There is a
Or
sense
based
of
on real life.
foreboding in Doom in that film, and I
There
don't
is.
know what it is because knowing the case, I think that they were really going in the wrong direction. I don't think that any of those guys were him personally. I mean, no one really knows, but there is like new DNA-ish weird evidence that points in a completely opposite direction from where that film went. But it's still a spooky ass fucking movie, man.
It is.
Yeah, the next one I want to bring up because Florida.
Florida Man.
Monster.
Jim Monster, yes.
Monster. Eileen Wuornos.
Fabulous film.
Which happened on the
yes.
same coast that I live on.
Yes.
Yep.
Not necessarily the whole story, but
So that's another movie. Like the movie's fantastic.
Right.
The performances are great. The writing's solid. There's a lot of truth in the movie itself, which I obviously followed very closely because it happened over here. But it's another movie that makes her so sympathetic.
yes.
And the woman was batshit crazy.
Right.
Like she was
But-
fucking insane.
But she was insane because of what happened to her too, right?
But there's
it's
no-
not just
But
Right,
that's the
maybe.
thing. There's no proof that all of
Well,
that happened to her. She
right,
just
but
says
like-
it happened.
But life is not just somebody's evil
But
or
her-
somebody's good, right? There's a lot of gray area, and you can have some recognition that, hey, somebody's past has really affected them, and that wasn't something that they chose, right? That's not saying that you forgive them or say, oh, well, that's normal. But you can see sometimes where that
Her
comes
father
from.
is
I guess I
convicted
get what you're
sexual
saying, right?
offender
That
of-
explains
who
it, but
killed
it
himself.
doesn't excuse it.
Right.
Well, yeah, and
Right.
I get that point. But what my point is, there's zero evidence to prove what she claims happened to her.
I mean, she claims a lot.
So,
it's-
I mean,
yeah.
She
Right.
does. She claims every man she
Are
ever
you
killed
talking about the
was
killings or
because
her
they tried to
upbringing?
sex-
Are you talking about the killings themselves? Because yeah, that's bullshit. Like some of those guys were completely innocent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's the part I'm talking about,
Okay,
not
yeah,
necessarily her
absolutely.
upbringing.
I agree with you
Yeah,
100%.
I
And that's
can't
the
do
issue
about
I
that.
have with it. I love the movie. I watched it again just recently, just because. I
Yeah, a
enjoyed
fantastic
it.
film.
But yeah, it's total bullshit, and it totally sympathizes her. So
But-
bad.
But
Mhm.
it's no, hang on. But it's not like I'm saying the people, the Johns or whatever, were, not innocent. But it's a product of her past experiences, which she then, puts on these other people, right? Like I have to,
No, it's easier
what
to
happened
shoot
me-
somebody than to fuck them. She doesn't have to take her pants off, and she gets all the money and the car. Why fuck them when you can
Right.
just fucking put a gun up to their head and fucking pull the trigger? It's way easier.
Agreed.
There was a convenience
Yeah.
thing. It's just
But I
quicker.
mean, but also look what she put her girlfriend through too. I mean, she was
Here's a
she
question:
was mentally abusive.
But did her girlfriend encourage it? Did her girlfriend know and be like, "Go get us
That
some
I-
money. Go get us a fucking car"?
Look, I'm not gonna lie. The girlfriend is completely suspect. I under no circumstances have any sympathy for her either because I'm one of those people that I have zero belief that anybody is innocent when they actively ignore the signs. Like
Right,
there's
she
no
was
way she could
complicit.
have been right. There's no way that was going on and she didn't know about it given the amount of time they were together.
Of
course.
I just came in home with a
Yeah.
new car and a new it's all good.
Right. There's no way.
Don't mind all the
Yeah,
blood.
I
on the
absolutely-
seat.
Yeah, exactly. don't mind the bleach smell. It's okay. It's okay. So have either of you guys seen Voices
Oh shit! I
Oh,
don't think I did.
with?
gosh, I think was that a horror comedy? I could be totally off
Yes.
base.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Remind me
Absolutely.
who the main actor was because I think they also had some talking animals in there.
They did. He had a talking dog, and that's why I brought it up because we were talking
Yes.
about Son of
Oh,
Sam.
what the hell
It's
is his name?
Ryan.
It's the guy that
Ryan,
plays
um,
Deadpool.
Yes.
God, I
can't
love
remember
that
his last
movie.
name.
Oh, it's so fucking
Ryan
hilarious.
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
It's
Yes.
fantastic. It is so much fun.
How
and
did you
it-
feel
it's
about
not-
those CGI animals?
I had no problem with them at all.
Okay.
But mostly
Yeah.
that's because Ryan Reynolds distracted me, so I didn't have anything. I wasn't really paying attention.
Oh yeah, no, he kills that role. It's hilarious and also still somehow creepy.
Yeah, it is. I've been a fan of his since he was on a Nickelodeon TV show called 15 back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yes, I remember that. Oh, his Twitter's great. I would be on Twitter if most of Twitter was like his.
Yeah, I
But-
can't go on Twitter. It's
No,
too toxic.
sadly,
Yeah.
I have to have Matthew run and the
No one
entirety
loves me
of
on
the
Twitter.
Murder Coaster Twitter.
I can't get I'll go follow people and they won't follow me back. We have like no followers there. TikTok's the only place where I'm getting
I
any
don't
fucking
even-
interaction.
Yeah, I do
People
TikTok
should know
and
me
I
on
do
Twitter. People who know me won't follow me back.
Facebook. That's it.
Maybe they
You
just
should-
don't
but
want
I
to be
do-
there. I hate Twitter.
Yeah, it's like the Wild West. I had this. I got in trouble. We went to a convention, and I'll edit this part of it out. But I went to a convention in Chicago,
Leave it.
right? And we went to a convention in Chicago for work, and one of the vendors had us at one of their VIP events, and they started talking about Twitter, and I said, I really hate Twitter. It's nothing but conspiracy theories and porn. I got in so much
Oh,
trouble
I'm
for
porn.
saying that in front of a vendor.
Dude, that's not untrue though. Like, and I
I
don't
know,
have a
but-
problem with the porn part, but I mean, there's lots of
You just
mean
make me
people
wanna
on
go
there
onto it
too,
right
and
now.
it makes
Yeah,
me
yeah.
sad.
Yeah, it's
insane.
literally made to argue. I mean, that was how it was made. It
Yeah,
was made
exactly.
to fight.
Yep, agreed. And I
I
only ever
agree.
used it. I only ever used it in August when Shark Week was on because I would tweet to the people that are on the shows, and they would actually answer you back.
Yeah.
Dude,
Now I
Facebook
just
hates
don't
me
use it
now,
at all.
dude. I can't. I get suspended for like just quoting a horror movie, saying like the dumbest shit.
Yes.
And like Instagram, I have fucking like a couple thousand followers, man, more, and fucking they just shut me down for no reason, no warning, and it, like I don't do anything.
I'm not
It's
surprised.
like, so it's like
Do you know
I
what's
feel like I'm on
what's funny about
eggshells. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I gotta be all nice.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I am nice. I'm a nice guy. I just
I gotta-
talk about what we're talking about, true crime and horror. It's my passion, and I can't,
Right.
The-
Speaking of which,
there's
Matthew, I need to look up some of your books
Oh, yeah.
because I love reading. You have no idea.
You should read some of my
So
books, please do.
I love
Oh,
your
I will,
books.
don't you? I had no idea you were an author, so I'm very excited about this.
Oh yeah.
the
What?
the Facebook thing is very strange, right? Because I got banned, and then you get banned for like a meme.
Yeah, a Jeffrey
Mhm.
Dahmer meme. Yeah.
Come
I just
Years
one time I
later,
quoted Jeffrey Dahmer. I just quoted him. I put in quote marks a quote and then followed it, Jeffrey Dahmer, and they're like, "This goes against our community standards." And the quote was like,
You're
I have
on their
one-
shit list already. That's why they flagged
Right.
it.
Dude,
they know what you're
came in-
like.
they were like, I used to get like hundreds and hundreds of likes and like it was like insane. And they came to me and were like, "Oh, you seem like a influencer or something. We want to give you this status and this shit, dude." And I was like, "All right, I don't give a fuck." You know what I mean? And
Oh, to make you a digital creator?
Oh,
So,
yes,
like,
the
they do
professional
that.
Yeah.
profile.
they give
Yeah.
me a professional
did-
profile, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, maybe I should never have done that. Maybe that put me more in.
No,
the
I didn't
crosshairs.
do that.
Did they for you?
I did. And
Yeah, I
they did
had
that for me,
3,000 followers for a while, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to be a professional artist?" And I'm like, "No." And that actually reminds me, I don't know any of these people, so I actually scaled back, and now I have like I think 700.
But look at these
friends,
wonderful people I met.
and I use
right here, sitting on either
Yeah.
side of us.
okay,
Right?
fine, but I tried to meet you on Instagram
They
because that
canceled
seemed
my
less
account, so
intrusive
they
than
went.
trying to jump onto. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Sarah
so
fucking straight
I
up
don't know.
stalked me.
Whatever works,
So
I guess.
watch out for her.
I did. I really did.
She read all my books
Groupie mentality.
and started sending me weird shit in the mail.
I found him because he was an author. I asked your
I'm not
permission to
sure-
send you weird shit in the mail.
What I found was funny because I posted like a Dahmer meme about like handshakes and like Dahmer with a blender.
Yeah.
But so I got banned like twice, like for the same thing. But then whenever like the TV, like the Netflix show came out, there was a million Dahmer memes out there, and nobody was getting banned.
No, only
it,
for a hot
just
second.
because
Now it's back.
I-
They'll do it again now.
He's
I
got a
have you
quote
on
about
the-
saying he wouldn't eat people that were tattooed, and I want to put it up on the wall
You will
in my
get
tattoo
fucking-
shop.
Oh, well, you can do that there. See, we still got that.
Yeah,
I-
that's what
I
I'm
can
saying.
do
I
you
can't
all.
put it on social
This-
media, but
I
I can
said-
put it in my shop, and people.
I don't think I can know what love is because a person who's done the things I have isn't capable of love. And I was like, dude, that is so fucking intense, man. I put that up. Boom! Ding, 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 ding. Red lights going off. They're like, you're fucking banned and shit. I'm like, what, dude? Like, and they're like, you're promoting serial killers. I'm like, I am in no way promoting. I'm saying how sad and like just heartbreakingly lonely and tragic this fucking idiot is, dude. Whatever. I don't get me started.
I got a ban on Facebook for a Brave Little Toaster meme.
Dude,
Oh, yeah,
please extrapolate. I
what
love
that
that
is.
movie.
So
What the fuck?
I-
Okay, you're a little older than me, so I'm sorry, but that was a really creepy children's movie that like came out when I was little, and I was so obsessed with it. It was amazing.
It was a picture of him flying through the air, and it said, "I want to take a bath with you."
There were some scary scenes in there.
We had
That was
Watership
a
and
fucked
I-
up kids movie.
Oh god,
Yes.
Watership
It's not
Down.
quite on that level, but it's,
No, not
it's
quite.
like a
dark.
G-rated scary
It's
movie.
creepy as shit.
It is
Yeah.
very creepy.
So-
That lamp was creepy as shit.
My favorite movie was
I have a
Death Wish when
Facebook
I was
group.
like 8. Charles Bronson.
I heard
So,
about
Mark,
your
wait,
Death Wish
Hey.
viewing.
Hang on,
Fucking-
Mark. I would like it
Everybody's
noted
saying-
how his age when he saw Death Wish. Did you hear this?
What?
His
What?
age. I want his age noted from when he saw Death Wish, because you like to
Okay.
give me shit about what I saw when I was that age.
Well, you
How
know,
old
Thank
were
God
you
we're
then?
the therapist here.
so Jim, Jim sat down with his mom. Like his mom said, "Hey,
Mark
little
is
Jimmy,
narrating Jim's
hey, you're
thoughts.
not
This is okay.
He is.
or whatever." I said, "Hey, come watch a movie with me," and that movie was The Entity, right? So, ghost rape.
Right.
Jim and his mom sitting there watching it while he was 9.
Whatever. Ghostbusters
9,
had
10
ghost
years old.
rape in it. Give me a break.
Right?
Well,
But
ghost
in-
rape, yeah.
my point is, I had no idea that there was rape. Like, none of that sunk in. It went right over my head. I had no idea what was going on in those scenes.
That's
Everything
so
else
funny.
I got. He was beating the shit out. But that part of it...
I remember watching
and the whole
Clockwork
time I'm
Orange,
watching
man.
it,
So young, too young.
and the whole time I was watching that scene, I was just like, how are they making it look like he's touching her? I don't get it. How are they doing that? That was my focus when I first saw that movie.
Jim was gay from the day he was born.
Do you think that's you?
Don't tell me
Jim,
it's like
do you
that.
think that your sexuality is learned or we're born with it?
Oh,
You're born with it.
yeah,
100%.
definitely.
I don't know.
Yep.
But Jim's looking at this.
Well, I
Jim's
mean, you
looking
think
at
about your Death Wish
I'm not a
feeling.
rapist. If anything would turn you gay, that was probably that. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're like horrified. You're like, heterosexual sex is awful. I don't want to be a heterosexual. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Like,
Wait,
I'm.
They're
But you're still straight,
Just
so
rape scares me. It's terrifying. It fucked me up,
Right.
and like it's still like thinking
Yeah.
about shit like that. Well, it haunts. It's I don't know. It's
yeah, but you're
I
still
just noticed-
heterosexual, even though you had to see that shit. So must not be learned.
right.
But hang on,
oh,
everyone.
is that what you were
I just
saying?
noticed I'm drinking a Bud,
Yes.
and
I'm drunk. I think I'm
now
wasted.
I might.
Sarah's so cool, dude. Isn't
Mark's
she
gonna
cool?
sprout hairs and nails now. She is.
Stop.
Yes, Jim's not cool,
No.
right?
No, I'm not.
Jim's like Dave. No, not you.
No! Fuck you, Dave.
I still don't know who Dave is.
Dave's a
Crazy
dick.
Dave.
That's a dick joke. Yeah, he's calling me a dick,
You're not.
and that's okay
I
because
don't-
I've been called worse.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't
So-
have to
so I-
apologize for
I have
not
another
that sensitive,
movie.
Matthew.
I have another movie to talk about, and
Oh wait,
this is
we need your opinion on when we talked about while you were gone, Mark. What did
What?
you think? What did you think of Voices with Ryan Reynolds?
Oh yeah.
He was a serial killer.
Yeah, no, I know the concept. I just haven't seen it.
Do we mind that he
That's
was
disappointing.
sympathetic? I feel like that was fine because he's not based on anybody.
It,
And
right,
he's Ryan
because it was a
Reynolds.
comedy. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
completely
no.
fictional.
A
so
sympathetic
He was
serial killer's
adorable.
wrong, no matter what. No matter
He
if it's
was.
fictional or real.
Deadpool's a
What if you
serial
were that
killer.
fictional
Is he?
victim's parent?
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of superheroes are serial killers.
Or is he a mass shooter? No, he uses swords too. All right.
I need this explained as someone who's not like a huge what do you call it? Like comic book person. How is Deadpool a serial killer? I want it outlined.
Deadpool is a psycho. He's an absolute psycho. He just like kills randomly. But
well, that would make him a mass killer, not a serial
No,
killer.
a serial killer kills, cools down for a period, and kills again.
But there's
A mass
usually
killer
a common
kills a
tie,
whole bunch
is
of
there
people
not?
at once,
Is it?
and it's a form of suicide. It's a
I don't
form of
think-
suicide.
I don't think
you
that
don't
definition
walk
is
out of it.
accurate. I don't think that is accurate. I'm
mass killer?
I'm going to argue that definition. The distinction you're making between the two, because serial killers, in my understanding, have a general link or a type of victim that they are going to that they're going to victimize. Technically, a mass killer could be spread out over time if there's no link between their
Now, there's
victims.
serial killers who will just fucking like. I'm trying to think of some, but there's a bunch of them that will just kill
gonna
all
say, name me
different types
one.
of people. The FBI says, and they're the ones who came up with the word. It's a killer who kills, cools down, kills, cools down, but then goes through a heated period where they'll kill for a whole bunch of times in a row, but then they'll cool down again. Whereas a mass killer is actually a form of suicide. They all believe that they're going to die. Every mass killer who's lived, and when you read their like manifestos or suicide notes afterwards, they all say that they didn't plan on coming out alive, and they did it to die.
Two things there, right? So the serial killer wants to lurk in the shadows, right? And the mass killer wants to be out in
Absolutely.
the light, right? He wants to have all that.
Okay, but I want this brought back to Deadpool. Like, reel it all the way back in and tell me why Deadpool's a serial
He's
killer.
a sexually sadistic psychopath.
Because he kills people.
No.
I don't read comic books. I hate comic books. I'm just kidding. All my comic book fans out there. Horror. Give me horror and true crime. That's all I want.
It's
Fucking drown
a
me in it.
serial killer. Too.
I saw the movies.
Yeah.
I saw them. They were good. I enjoyed them. I really liked them.
So the next movie I was going to bring up was the South Korean, my favorite revenge movie, but it's around a serial killer, is I Saw the Devil.
Yes. I have seen it.
Oh, yes. Okay. It's been a while for
Right.
me, though.
Yeah. Good one.
So I think that's, yeah. I mean,
South Korea makes some
Jim-
incredible horror movies. I mean, so many.
They make the best revenge movies.
Mark, don't pretend like you think I'm going to have seen this movie. You already know I haven't.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right, Jim, old school
Can
Jim,
we
how about
move-
Night of the Hunter? Remember that? It's probably
Ooh,
before
that
all
was
the
set in
time.
West Virginia.
Yes.
West Virginia, Clarksburg. Lived there. Very big fan of that movie because it was one of like
So
two
good.
movies that was ever shot there in the history of forever. And it's got tattooing history because the love-hate on the knuckles, that's where that came from.
Right.
FYI.
Robert Mitchum.
Yeah. Well, it was a book.
Love it. I didn't read the book.
I'm going to be
And
I
you
feel like
talk
lying
about-
to our listeners and saying, of course I've read the book, but truth is I have not.
You didn't read it either,
No,
did you?
I didn't read it.
No.
Okay.
And again, I think Night of the Hunter and Cape Fear make a good double bill.
The original
Cape Fear's a great movie.
with Robert Mitchum. Well, they both had him.
Well, yeah.
Now, people
I-
apparently, and I didn't even know this was a thing, hate the Martin Scorsese version of Cape Fear. Like hate it, and like we'll go like
Why?
stand on a hill to say what a terrible movie it is. I don't know, because I'm like, what? I love that movie, and they're like, well, you're a fucking idiot or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And I'm like, well, The Simpsons did it, and it's a classic piece of
Yeah.
modern pop culture, and they're like, just because something's pop culture doesn't make it good. You don't read real reviews. And like, I don't know. Robert Siskel
talk
and
to some
Ebert
weird people.
give it a
Yeah,
thumbs
where are
down
you
or something.
finding these people? I've never heard
It's
those.
this fucking strange place
Right?
called the internet. I don't know.
This
So
must be a
moving
Twitter
swift-
conversation.
It sounds like a Twitter conversation.
Moving
right?
swiftly along,
Yeah.
I'm glad that all you
Can-
like
can
it. I'm
we-
glad.
can
I'm
we-
so glad because I adore it. It's so good, dude. All those tattoos.
I-
When he's
I
in
like
jail
both.
working
I'm talking
out,
shit.
and the fucking camera
Yeah.
pans
Oh, yeah.
down over those tattoos. I mean, that is this legendary cinema there.
Robert Mitchum was great in the original.
Yeah, he was.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
No, just even the scene in the movie theater,
Right.
where he's smoking a cigar and just laughing. It's just like you could see that happening. It's just like fucking that's the guy you don't mess with because he's fucking.
I don't know
insane.
what I do because I'm like, you can ask my family. It's kind of embarrassing, but the movie theater is a holy and sanctimonious place, and if you start talking or getting on your fucking phone near me in the goddamn movie theater, there's gonna be an issue.
Yep.
And remember this.
You sound like Bret Easton Ellis's book, the recent one.
He was just like looking at boys. He's like, "Wow, boy's cute."
He said cinema was church.
Cinema is church.
That's what I'm thinking of.
I just want to remind all our listeners out there, in Florida, an old man once shot a guy for talking during a movie.
For throwing popcorn.
He was acquitted.
He threw popcorn
Well,
at
he
him.
evolved into that. It originally started when he said, "Will you please stop talking?"
Wow.
It happened like
There's probably like a really good silence your cell phone ads to be had in movie theaters with that.
because they said the act of throwing popcorn was like aggressive, so he had a right to.
In Florida, if you
himself.
can like get someone to throw popcorn at you, you can fucking just shoot them, dude. If you see someone with popcorn and you got a gun, you can be like, "Hey, fuck you! You're eating popcorn, you fuck."
And by the way,
and if they throw it at you,
noted.
By the way, he was an ex-cop that
and
shot.
he had trouble before. They say that every time he came to the movies, he would be like some kind of dictator, yelling at everybody.
It's insane.
But he was still allowed to go to the movies. He didn't get banned.
That man is in a movie theater right now, sitting next to you. So shut the fuck up.
I don't live in Florida. These guys
Not,
live in
not,
Florida.
not me.
Would you talk
He's
to
not
me
sitting
like
next
that?
to me.
He will like, you're a good movie audience. The guy was on his fucking cell phone getting texts. And he's like, "It's my babysitter for for my kid and shit." And it's like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Turn the fucking text off.
But I believe.
True, I turned my phone off.
Yeah.
I do not.
Not that I'm excusing the horrible cinema faux pas of that, but it was during the trailers. It wasn't even during the actual movie.
It was during the fucking trailers.
Then I'm sure
that sounds like my son. You
know
started
what?
yelling at him. It was still the trailers.
You got to set the precedent, though. Like, you don't want someone to talk through the film.
No, you got to start it early.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if you shoot one person in the movie theater for using their phone in the trailers, nobody will use their phone during the rest of the movie. That's true.
Right, it's a solid statement of your intention.
Like it was at that Batman movie. That's all he was trying to say.
Ooh.
Did I go there? No, I didn't. I didn't say that.
You made it dark.
just-
Actually, it was probably already
just
dark, and we
heard
shouldn't
that.
have been joking about it.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, probably
It's not
not.
real.
But we're all going to hell anyway.
Eugene
so it's
did
okay.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Dave did
praise
that.
Eugene.
I don't know who that is.
Dave.
Dave.
Every time I do something wrong, from now on, I'm going to be like, "Dave, you dick."
Fucking dick. Like, if anything happens to you, it's
Yes.
Dave's fault. So fuck him. So I'm going to get on my airplane. We were in South Korea for I Saw the Devil. And we're going to travel over to Italy for Giallo.
Of course, we're going Giallo. You have to go Giallo. Of course you do.
So you can look at things like Argento's Tenebrae or Fulci's, Jim's favorite New York Ripper.
Jesus Christ. He made me
so,
watch
you know,
that film.
I
I'm
love
just
Italian
saying.
horror. I'm very excited right now.
Actually,
Help him with his editing.
there's three. There's
Yes.
three that I just want to...
Are you gonna
Italian
clap?
horror.
Is that what you're gonna do?
1,
Okay.
2, 3, go.
I was just fucking. So
Who were you fucking?
Tenebrae.
Are you fucking the microphone?
That was efficient. You weren't gone very long.
What are you up to, buddy?
Don't kink shame me. It's fine. So we're talking about Giallo, right? And Jim, what is Giallo? What does that mean?
I
Yellow.
believe that was a
where
brand
does
of
that come
pudding
from?
that Bill Cosby promoted.
You're just
So it had
determined to
something-
keep this weird.
Yeah, he is. It's something to do with detective type novels that they had, and the paper was cheap, so it turned yellow.
Correct. It was pulpy novels,
Yeah,
right?
it's like Italian
it-
mystery thrillers.
Mhm.
Right. It's murder mysteries, usually with a black gloved killer who would kill people in various nasty ways.
Pulp.
So,
So,
let's preface this because I had never seen a Giallo film before. Mark and I started doing this podcast, and he decided to introduce me to Mark.
Lucio Fulci's classic sleaze fest, The New York Ripper.
Which, if you haven't seen it, is about a serial killer that talks like Donald Duck.
I just recently tried to start a Fulci marathon, but that has not gotten to my list yet.
Zombie was like the
You're-
huge one
you're
when I was a
not.
little kid. I remember being
Yeah,
little.
that was obviously you got to
Reading
start
in
with that
Fangoria,
one.
They're like, you got to watch Zombie. I will eat your flesh, right? But then like all those murder
So
ones that
Fulci's-
you're talking about, it's like almost like a different type of genre. I love those too.
Oh shit!
So Fulci's best known works are the Gates of Hell trilogy, which The Beyond, which is his best movie, City of the Living Dead, and House at the something. But yeah, New York Ripper is definitely his sleaziest movie. And Jim, do you want to describe a couple of scenes in it? Where were we?
Oh, I don't want to make you repeat yourself, but you'll
The
have to
only
link me,
political
'cause
thing
I
I'll say
do-
publicly, and I'll say this publicly, is fuck all religion. Is that bad, Sarah? I'm allowed to
Agreed.
Is
say
that political? I don't think that's
I don't even think
political.
it's
I feel like
political.
that's
It is
personal. That's
personally-
personal.
No,
It's
it's
the one
political
thing that I
now.
will say.
It's political now.
Right on Facebook, I'll be like, all religions are wrong. Every
Yep.
single one of
Religion right now is very political.
Eugene's listening.
them. It's cheap. All right. One,
Blame
one
it,
is
blame it
one,
on,
one
blame it on
beside
Dave the
that
Dick.
I'm atheist, apart from one, which is Eugene.
one. Nice. I love your atheism. I when you put it, yeah, I love them.
I don't know. I'd say agnostic over here. Like I'm a big Carl Jung fan, and I would say synchronicity is what I feel like turns the world. Like there's no such thing as coincidences. But again, it could be all in my
There's no
head.
such thing as
There's no way to prove it.
coincidences.
Carl Jung is not empirically based at all.
That's true.
So because I'm pedantic, agnostic is not being in the middle, right? So I'm an agnostic atheist.
Oh,
Agnostic.
I agree. Me too. If you could prove to me that God existed, I would go with it. Like I'm an open-minded person about everything. Ask Sarah, dude. Like I will, if you can convince me of something like like on like a real level, I will go along with it. I don't, whatever.
yeah. I'll reconsider my shitty beliefs, especially the Grateful Dead suck, because now I'm a fan.
I convinced her to like the.
I
Grateful Dead,
did that.
and that was amazing.
That
Oh,
happened.
and one
So-
Jerry Garcia song
So
about scoring heroin.
Gnosticism and Gnosticism talk about knowledge, right? And theism, atheism talk about belief. So most religious people are agnostic too because they don't have the knowledge, right? Or don't claim they have the knowledge. So that's the pedantic.
You're talking about
Right, that's the
a blind
distinction,
follower,
yeah.
a blind faith. Blind faith doesn't mean you're agnostic.
So, I think most people on the street, if you met them and they're Christian or Muslim or whatever, you say, do you have actual knowledge that your God exists? Most of them will be like, yeah, maybe.
Is that a fact? I would have to look that up because I could see it going either way. To be honest, I would need to see a study, an actual study of that.
But it's just the distinction between knowledge of
Look
and
how good this
belief
podcast
of, right?
it
So
would be if I was on it with his political one.
right.
Except they're not actually going to keep this part, so this is
No,
just
no,
fun.
we're not.
No, I'm just saying.
You just get to be
his political
aggressive,
one,
like privately.
Like we would have fun. It's sad. I'm like bummed because I was like, fuck, me and Mark would have fun talking about God. Is
Dude,
not
you
real.
could be on it.
Maybe.
Yeah, just change your name. You know.
Do I get to use like
Use a voice changer.
mask?
Eugene.
Use your pseudonym.
You could be
I can throw
Eugene
people never
Dave.
link it to me.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's how I found you, though, so don't bet on it. Stalkers can use that.
Ooh.
Uh,
So, Mark,
Okay. Yes.
Giallo,
Italian horror.
Giallo.
here we go.
Italian horror.
you wanted me to describe some scenes from New York Ripper.
And I don't know, Sarah, if you're a fan, obviously, of Italian giallo and Italian cinema. Have you seen The Editor?
No.
You need to watch
I
The
haven't either,
Editor.
to be honest.
It's the Astron. Do you know Astron 6?
What year was it made?
Okay, I'm writing this
They
down.
did like Borg
What year?
and Psycho Man. The Editor, I think it was like 20.
Newer stuff.
But basically, it's a parody of 80s Italian giallo and Italian
Okay.
horror. in
Okay.
general.
We're talking
I'm
about a
interested.
postmodern mirror maze of Italian
Yes.
horror films.
It's hilarious. And it's so on point, like, it's just great. The Editor.
This is like
2014.
okay, 2014. The Editor,
Yes.
2014. Okay, I'm gonna watch that.
All right, so you guys are old
sure.
guys. You guys are gonna remember this one, Gorky Park. Remember that? That's a classic, old school.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that was based on Andre Chikatilo, right?
I like
Yep.
how he says we're old. That's how he prefaced that. You're old. You'll remember
You
this.
know, as,
Oh no, Mark was born in 91 apparently. As
Do you know
of
what
our
Gorky Park is,
conversation
Sarah?
yesterday, you're the youngest one here.
Mark
I've
is the
heard of it.
youngest?
I've not seen it.
God damn it, Mark!
I have no
God
idea
damn
what
it,
you
Mark.
old folks are talking about.
I should have known.
Mark,
I'm learning more and more about all these people every day, and it's very
Use my
disheartening.
pronoun, please.
Mark's
Sarah,
older
do
than
you
I am,
know
so
about-
don't let
do
him
you know
fool
about-
you.
He is. I always thought that he was like this old
Okay,
crotchety man.
Old people.
Sarah,
Old
have you
people,
seen
I have
Gorky
to
Park?
ask
Have
you
you
a
ever heard of
question.
it? Do you know anything about it? No?
I've heard of it. I
You've
haven't
heard of
seen
it.
it. I have a question
You were
though,
a kid,
which is, did you
in
hear?
the 80s? They
Okay.
played it on HBO nonstop, constantly. But it is,
Yes.
whatever. It is what it is.
We did not have cable, which was very sad. Most of my horror movie knowledge came from going to the video store and renting stuff, which is where my next question comes from for all of you older people here,
Oh my
which
God.
was like when I was renting like Argento movies, people told me that the dead bodies were real. And I've never been able to figure
That
out
is
if
an
that was
absolute
urban
fact.
legend or if that is a fact. And I want it to be true because I want to donate my body to Italian horror when I die. Is it true?
Why are you trying to
It's-
steal my heart?
As far as I know, that's not true, but they did use real skeletons
Right.
for Poltergeist.
Okay, so maybe that's where that comes from. Not that
Why would an
Poltergeist
Italian
was
fucking
Italian
horror
horror,
movie in
though.
the
That's
60s
Toby
have
Hooper.
anything to do with goddamn Toby Hooper movie in the 80s?
Right.
Wait, don't get Mark started on Toby Hooper and Poltergeist, please.
Why? I want to hear.
Wait.
I actually listened to the episode.
Strong
but I
opinions.
think I was completely hammered when I did.
I think
think you
Hooper
were when
being
you made it.
credited as is a little generous.
What do you mean by generous?
I think he was told where to point the camera by Spielberg, and he was
You're
just-
one of those people.
You can fuck the fuck
Yes,
off.
he
dude.
is.
You can fuck.
Whoa.
You need to stop and go watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre right now, and just turn off the podcast. Go watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Go watch Salem's Lot, and then come back. You know,
I've seen them. I've seen basically all Hooper's movies. But you put how Poltergeist looks up to a Hooper movie, and you put it up to a Spielberg movie,
Steven
and you
Spielberg
tell
definitely
me
had his
which one.
influence. I'm not going to deny
Like,
it. I'm not going to deny
okay.
it. But that was the beauty of it, dude. The beauty of Poltergeist is the postmodern masterpiece of a brand new neighborhood and a brand new house, and it's like Steven Spielberg's E.T. All that. It's all like this little neighborhood. You do love it.
I love Poltergeist, but I don't see a lot of Hooper in it. That's all I'm saying.
I warned you guys about this topic?
I know it's a lot of Hooper.
No, I didn't take you seriously, Jim. I really, really regret not listening to you.
I understand what he's saying. And we talked about religion and stuff earlier during the break, and I'm
not as polarizing as this.
We talked. No,
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm going to say when we talked about it, I said I wasn't a man of faith. I'm going to say now I am a man of faith, and I'm just going to have faith that it was Hooper, that he had his influence in Poltergeist, and it wasn't all Spielberg. I don't know it. How am I supposed to know?
Wow.
I'm just going to put my faith and my love, and this is my religion, into the fact that Hooper had a huge influence.
So what I will say is that faith means believing in something without sufficient evidence.
Thank you, and that's absolutely the truth.
Well, right.
I have no evidence. I can't prove to you.
You can't prove it or disprove it.
Anyway, how did we get from serial killers to poltergeists?
I don't fucking know.
You moved that.
Okay, we're flying back to Germany again.
I thought
and this is
Italy right now.
And now we're flying over to.
You ever notice how she goes back and forth a lot? Go in, don't go in. I don't know. It's confusing.
Nobody ever said it was going to be an easy podcast. So this is even sleazier than the New York Ripper.
Oh.
This is, again, based on a true story, and you may or may not have seen it. And this is the Golden Glove.
Yeah, dude, one of my favorites of all time. Love it so much.
Super sleazy.
It's not that sleazy. It's 100% true. It is a fucking true crime story movie, dude, and it's it's completely accurate. And as a matter of fact, you can if you Google with it, you can get newspaper clippings that go along with each part of the film.
No, I know, but it's sleazy. It makes you want to take a shower after watching it.
I'm not sleazy, but I'm not sleazy, but I make you want to take a shower after watching me, don't I?
So, Mark, you want to go into what you've seen?
So the first one that I'm going to bring up, me and Matthew may not say eye on it.
What?
Oh God!
Imagine that. Me not saying eye to eye on something with someone.
Me and Jim will just sit back and watch. Go ahead.
So
Mark,
I watched.
Just remember, Eugene is listening.
Eugene glances me.
So is Dave.
Okay, so I watched Evil Dead Rise, and it was not that gory, Matthew.
I found it quite gory.
Oh,
I'm not going to sit back.
I gotta get in this.
Sarah, go.
No.
You go, Sarah.
Okay, thank you. What is your definition of gore? Because that movie was soaked in blood. What the hell? Are you saying there wasn't enough violence, or are you saying there wasn't enough gore? Because there was literally blood up to their eyeballs.
No. So this is a point I made to Matthew. Right? Blood to me does not equal gore, right? So if I have,
you need to explain yourself, sir.
Right. So if I have a movie and I fill a swimming pool full of blood, that's not gore to me, right? Gore is actual violence.
Every human body. So,
what if there are skeletons or dead bodies in said pool? Is that gore?
So you have to go. Well, we can figure this out mathematically.
Okay, so I'll throw it out here. So, do you think that the remake was gorier or was Rise gorier?
The remake was way better. And in your definition of gore, I think gore being something that affects you on a more visceral level, on a gut, your viscera, your guts. I would say that you're absolutely correct. And the original was way gorier.
Yeah.
But on a purely blood-covered level, I am going to say that the remake, or not the remake, that Evil Dead Rises literally rained blood and was covered in blood. And there was like a chainsaw into the head. And there was all kinds of shit. That it was actually more violent acts. And mathematically, I would say that if we counted them, and I might be wrong, all right? I'm going to say that Evil Dead Rises has more violent acts than the Evil Dead remake. But I would have to agree with you 100% that the Evil Dead remake is a far superior film. far superior. I mean, it's not even close. I mean,
Right. No, I had
liked
this
the Evil
discussion.
Dead, and I went to the Evil Dead Rises, and I took my teenage son, and he was squirming and freaking out, and I was like laughing at him, and I was like, yeah, dude, we had a.
It was the cheese grater, wasn't it?
That was a good
That,
one.
that scene does look a bit
Okay.
intense. I haven't seen it
And
yet, but it
it's
looks intense.
stupid, dude. And you know what? It's stupid to argue about the Evil Dead because it's a franchise based on being not that intelligent. You know what I mean? Like it just is what it's a scare film. It's like a
Yes.
nightmare. It's like a surreal
So-
nightmare.
It's
Sarah,
like
go ahead.
slapstick. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like the Three Stooges.
And if anything,
and
that's what
I
was
feel like
missing,
they
was the
injected
funny
that
part.
type of humor into it on purpose.
But it did not start
And I
that
would
way.
put no. I loved Evil Dead Rise, but I would put it at the bottom of the franchise, even though I was entertained throughout.
So
I agree with Sarah.
I agree.
No,
And I think there's a way to.
You know what? You want to hear some controversy? You want to get
Okay.
Yeah.
fucking down and dirty? You want to hear some fucked up shit?
Bring
Evil
it.
Dead 2 sucks. Fuck Evil Dead 2.
Oh,
I saw
Mark.
Evil Dead 2 in the movie theater. I saw it in the movie theater as a teenager, and I expected to be scared. And
Jim,
it was
fine,
a
please.
comedy. The original was not a comedy.
Yes.
I did not want to see a comedy, and I was very angry that it was funny instead of being scary. And I felt the same.
I thought they
way.
were both hilarious.
Well,
Matthew,
think
you are
everything's hilarious.
fractally
I laugh
wrong.
at everything,
Yeah, that's true. I know.
including Mark. You know,
The Evil Dead
That's why we're
is
friends.
the essential 80s horror movie.
oh yeah, I love the Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2.
He's talking about Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead
sucks.
2. No, Evil Dead 2 is the quintessential 80s
Well, I
horror
saw it in the movie theater, so I guess so. But I can still say
Army
it
of
sucks.
Darkness.
Yeah, Army of Darkness is fun.
Army of Darkness
Whatever.
is
My
another
fave.
huge.
I love Army of Darkness, but I'm a medieval history nerd, and that had no medieval history, but I like the imagery. So
What does this have to do with serial killers anyway? Let's talk about
does
extremely.
not. We're not
extremely
talking about
evil and
that.
Vile.
No. We're talking about what
Yeah,
was
we're
stuff
talking
we
about what we
saw
watched.
recently.
Oh shit, we watched recently.
So anyway,
I'm sorry.
so-
What's
so-
wrong with
so-
me? What did I watch
just to go back-
recently? Everything you could ever have heard of Carla Homolka. I mean, every tiny YouTube episode, fucking the Ken and Barbie killers, reading every type of psychological report. That's what I've been doing recently. My wife told me, and I shit you not, that I woke her in the middle of the night screaming. They've got your videotapes.
Oh, God.
They've got your videotapes, and they can hear the screaming. So it's like Carla Homolka, you know. You know what Homolka means? Homolka means misshapen
Cream
piece
cheese.
of cream cheese. Yeah, that's what it means. If you look it up in the Czech language,
I don't know how we got here, but okay.
talking about serial killers. Question: It's never
serial-
going to end, is it? Question: Is Carla Homolka a serial killer?
I don't even know who that is. That's the second.
You don't know who
second
Carla
person.
Homolka is? We're
No.
done, Jim. We're done. You're dead
I
to
have
me.
headphones in, sir. They're hurting
Three
me.
killers. Are you serious, dude?
All right, I'm
Fucking
serious.
A. Fucking hell, bro. Jim, dude, come on, man. You're making me join Mark's side. Really? You've never heard of Ken and Barbie killers?
No.
It's a woman from the 70s show.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We had a little educational discussion about this
I
yesterday
saw
night.
part of that, but I was asleep in my chair when that conversation happened, so I just generally skimmed it.
Are you guys fucking with
You
me?
have all the
Does
clarity
she
that
really
you
know
need,
who Carla
to be
Homolka
honest
is?
with you.
I have no idea, honestly.
He's got no idea,
I'm
eh?
just so shy.
Hey,
Hey, you're not about it. You're not all about Carla Homolka.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bootin' really strange. I'm doing it terrible, aren't I? I'm too drunk.
Yes, you are.
I can do it good. Hold on. Damn it. Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka, eh? What a combination! Can you believe
This is
what
not-
they've been about?
Matthew, it's not getting any better.
They were these serial killers.
Sarah,
I mean, like, dude, they call them the Ken and Barbie killers. They're both incredibly beautiful blondes. I mean, like, people called him angelic since he was a little kid, dude. And he could talk anybody and anything. And he was like 6'1", muscular, blonde hair, blue eyed. And she was like this perfect, like, blonde hair. She's actually, it's complicated. But, and let me put it this way for you, buddy. On Christmas, she gave him her 15-year-old sister as a present. And they drugged her and raped her and filmed the entire thing on VHS, which jurors, lawyers, like everybody, news people, journalists, all watched. And accidentally killed her by like overdosing her on the tranquilizers.
Oh.
And it's
an accident, then.
it's some of the most graphic and disturbing true crime you can think of. It makes
Is
you
there
guys
an
are into like horror movies. Like, I mean, I love horror movies. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, this
is this a current or a future episode?
Early, there's like, I think that
No.
He's writing it now.
Okay,
What?
I was saying on your podcast, is this a future?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's future. Wait,
Right.
you haven't even made it.
I might get to help with it, but like I'm not
I mean, what are you
far
talking
past collaborating at this point.
Yeah, he's
no,
clearly very
you're
passionate
like
about this.
expert level at this point. I'm gonna probably get to do some little notes for
Dude,
you.
Sarah is a I can't do psychology like Sarah does. I mean, she points out things to me because I'm like, why does Pazuzu kill little animals? Is it because he's a serial killer and all serial killers kill little animals? And she's like, no. It's because he's psychotic and he believes that in magical thinking that by killing this thing, it's going to help him further down the road. It's not even sadistic. It's not sadistic at all.
Yes,
it's not like a
schizotypal
serial
personality
killer.
disorder.
It's not like a serial killer.
So,
like, she fucking, she fucking rocks, dude. And I cannot wait to hear what she says about the many fronticled arms of Carla Homolka. Enigma of the century. Coming soon to MurderCoaster. All psychological valuations by Sarah Hartman.
Yeah. As soon as you get that episode down from like 100 pages to 20 pages, then I will put my
I'm at 45 right now.
in.
Is this like how many parts do we want to go? But I cannot wait to hear
We're
about
probably going to need at least 2. If you have
At least
45
2.
pages, we're going to need at least
It
2.
hasn't even begun.
Because I'm going to write shit too. And I can't shut up.
She's a fascinating character.
I have no idea where we were.
You love her, Jim.
I don't
let's talk
know.
about Evil Dead.
So, yeah, we were talking about Evil Dead Rise. What else we got, Mark? What else did you see?
The only other thing. Okay, so I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil 4, the remake.
Okay.
Who saw Bo's
Because
Afraid?
that's
Anybody
awesome.
see it?
What?
Bo's Afraid?
Oh, no, not yet. It's on my list, though. Did you watch it?
No. I'm pissed off. It's hard to see. They're not making it fucking easy, dude.
What are we
It's not
talking
even
about?
in
me
mainstream
excited
theaters.
thinking you
It's
had
only
seen
in our
it.
theaters. It's only in our theaters, dude. It's bullshit. I can see it, but it's like
It's not here.
4:30. You can't find it anywhere near you. That's fucked up. And it's so weird because I usually
know.
have that happen to me, but I can see it at this little weird art theater.
Bye with our listeners.